Welcome. Antonio, did you want a hot lunch today? Okay. Chicken and waffles. That's incredible. Truly incredible. All right, so let's see. Did anybody get really close? I'm really interested. Carson looks like he got close to.
I got all the nominates.
All right, online kids, in your voices off. Online kids in the Microsoft Teams on week 4's page, which I sent out yesterday, there is a template for nouns and verb endings. And every day this week, we're going to start off seeing how much we remember off the top of our heads. We're finding out a lot of people in here don't know any of the noun endings or where they go. That's okay. Y'all know more than you realize. It's just we're coming off of a long weekend, and it's like intimidating enough where you don't realize what you know and what you don't know. But yeah, we're just filling out the first one today. We'll fill out the other 3 throughout the week. We're doing all makeups this week, and we're taking it slow and reviewing everything. Who can pass out a vocab refresher sheet to everyone for me real quick? Anyone? Very much. Okay, guys, so. Yes, Macy?
Is this like 2 completely different things? Like the top is identical to the bottom? Yeah. Do they just have the same answers?
Yeah. I just printed it 4 times so that we can use it every morning this week. Every day this week, we're gonna see how much we know. And all that I want to see is that y'all are at least adding a little more every day. So let's look at it real quick. This is the noun chart. Ideally, on Friday, you'll get very close to having filled this out. So if you want to fill out the rest of your top portion now, you can do that. It's not a huge deal, though. Like tomorrow, either way, we're going to crease this. We're going to fold it so that you can't see the answers up top, and you're going to retry on the bottom half. But yeah, like, are y'all looking at the nominatives now? And you're like, oh, maybe I do actually kind of know the nominatives. I just like totally blanked out. Anyone? Maybe?
Yes.
I got accusative and ablative.
Yeah. So, well, that's good. So he knows accusative and ablative. Even if you just pick one case to like master at a time, that's okay. I talk about accusative a lot because it's very distinct, and there's almost no overlap with the accusative, except for the UMs, the second declension ones. So I love accusative for that reason. So if you're like, hey, you know what? Let me just see if I can get nominative and accusative tomorrow. And then on Thursday, maybe I'll be able to add genitive or something. Because, right, genitive is mostly adding the nominative plurals to the genitive singular side. And then it has those really distinct, long genitive plural endings. Also, function. That'd be great if y'all at least knew the function before you even know the endings necessarily. All right. Good. Thank you very much. All right. So now everyone has a refresher sheet. All right. You guys think that grammar is the hardest thing about Latin right now? You're like, oh, the grammar's crazy. The word order is so crazy. Part of that is less that the grammar's so hard, since I'm not really asking y'all to even remember the case endings. And it's just that the vocabulary actually is still eluding a lot of y'all, because there's so much of it that I gave at first because of our weird situation this year where we have mixed groups. We got 4 chapters worth of vocab that kind of worked out, also kind of backfired. So that's actually what I argue is holding you guys back. So every day this week, we're just going to go through every single vocab word from each chapter. Today is a chapter 1 day. Tomorrow we'll do chapter 2, Thursday, chapter 3, and then Friday, chapter 4. We might squeeze 2 days into one so that Friday we can just do retakes. But anyway, you're going to use this refresher sheet to write down any word that we come across throughout this week, going over each vocab word one at a time, and you're going to add the words you don't know. If we get to Fama and you're like, oh, I know Fama's fame, you don't need to write that down. Don't write it down. But then if we get to Agricola and you're like, oh, I almost know Agricola, but I still sometimes think it's field instead of farmer. So you would write that down. You would pick that word and say, okay, I didn't know that one. Let me write it down. And you're going to put the Latin word on the left, the English meaning in that next column. Everyone should be looking at the refresher sheet. And then keyword cognate picture. It's probably too small of a space to squeeze in a picture, but you can if you want. Keyword is like probably a related word. That's what cognate means, these English related words that come from the Latin word, but it's not what the Latin word means. So that's just additional information. If you don't end up adding anything to the third column, it's not a huge deal. That's supposed to help you, though. If you want to write a word that's going to, like, help you remember what the word means, that's where you put that. And additional info, that's just like, if there's a mnemonic device that helps you. Now, what is a mnemonic device, people? Person?
It's something that helps you remember, like an acronym.
Yeah, it's like an acronym or something that helps you remember. So, like, just remembering what the order of the cases are. Sometimes we use this mnemonic, no good dogs, like NGD, act abhorrently. or viciously. I just made that one up. It's not very good. But that's a mnemonic. Part of being in middle school is using mnemonics and figuring out how to use mnemonics to help you remember what feels like random information. Right now, the reason I'm having trouble with this is because it feels like random sequences of letters. And it's like probably annoying. You're like, how am I supposed to learn these like random sequences of 1 to 3 or 4 letters that are noun endings when English doesn't even have noun endings? For one thing, I wish y'all had learned Spanish or French in elementary. This would be less weird to y'all, but that's okay. So that's going to help you not just in Latin, it helps you with literally every subject, especially things where memorization is key. All right, if you didn't get all of those, that's fine. We'll see how you do tomorrow, but hopefully maybe you'll learn a few more. Is there anything I should say about this to help y'all learn it? To remember, genitive singular is repeating the nominative plurals. Then genitive plural is like these really long ones. Dative and ablative are kind of weird. They're going to take a while, but ablative sure likes these long vowels. That's what we call a vowel with a macron, a long vowel. And then the east, that's the same. So if you get from east, I-S, shows up in dative and ablative plural, you got 2 spots done, right, for both declensions. And then I love accusative. I won't argue about why accusative should be something you can remember, but it is. And then vocative, who even cares? It's mostly just nominative. All right, verb endings. Raise your hand if you've got the verb ending pretty much all the way. Okay, it's most of y'all, not everyone. That's okay, it's not everyone, but this is something we want, like, definitely by Friday. If by Friday you only have maybe half of this, that's fine. But by Friday, you should have all of this, if not already. All right, those are the sentences you'll see on the quiz on Friday. We'll go over them probably on Thursday or something. We're just going to go through these words. And again, if you don't know them, if you're like, I don't know what May means, you're going to write down May on your refresher sheet. Because we might end up with class time at the end of today, or at the very least on Friday, where I will hand out flashcards and y'all can make flashcards based on the words you write down on this refresher sheet. So I need one person to raise their hand. What is May? What is May? I don't even know what it is now. Yeah, it's me. Very good. Okay, so this is a pronoun. So usually, there's more information than just what it means. There's way more you can write down. Now, if you just want to write down that this means me, that's okay. But there's more going on. It's a pronoun. It is usually ablative or accusative, which is not something you would know looking at a noun chart. Pronouns are weird. They have different kinds of endings. You guys don't have to mess with pronouns until, like, February, probably. Or, like, more pronouns than this. Like, I think y'all just get may, like me and you, and then you get no more pronouns until, like, chapter 9. Because they are kind of rough in Latin. So we want to work our way up to that. Anyway, it's usually a direct object because it's usually accusative when it's showing up. All right, and you can tell me if you're like, oh, I needed to get that. Like, go back to the last slide. You can tell me. What is quid? Quid. Abby? Wait. No. What does your name start with? Oh, you're Kylie. Okay. Okay, Kylie. So I knew that. Kylie, what is quid? Very good. What? Yes. So poor giant squid, it probably lived a very long, good life, and it just eventually, all things eventually come to their end and washed up on the shore. But that's kind of a weird image, isn't it? Yes? Yeah. If you don't know them. If you know quid, don't write it. If you're like, oh yeah, I didn't really know quid until Kylie said it. I didn't totally know what quid. I thought it might have been what, but I wasn't sure. Then write it down. That's you didn't know it?
Yeah, I know it.
Oh, so Maddie is not writing quid. This is another pronoun. It means what? It often begins a question according to Chicken Boy. And we have this phrase that we still use in English, but it's from Latin called quid pro quo, which basically means, literally kind of means like what for what. But in English, we use it for like, an eye for an eye kind of. Less revenge-like, more like business-like. Like I do this, you do this. Quid pro quo. Like I'm doing a little contracting work, quid pro quo for my friend. I do something for him, he's gonna do something for me. All right, that's quid. Oh my gosh. And now word 3, nihil. That's quid pro quo. Grace? Good. This is nothing. If you don't know nihil, write it down right now. It is no thing. This is a noun. One thing about it that we should have had Chicken Boy tell us is that it's indeclinable. It can technically function as a subject or a direct object, but it's always doing something potentially different, but it's always looking the same. So it's not like our normal nouns that decline, right? Our normal nouns are trapped within this declension system where they get one of like 700 different endings in Latin. Not nihil. Nihil is always just good old nihil. Maddie?
Yeah, what if the chicken's a girl?
Okay, I like that. Maybe it's chicken girl.
You can't sue people's genders.
So,
Chickens are technically girls, so it has to be a rooster.
Oh, okay. Okay, fair enough. Let's see. Jason?
Just use different pronouns.
Yes, not. Do you even know what part of speech this is? We probably don't often stop to think about what part of speech it is. Part of speech. We want to make sure we're focusing on parts of speech. So I kind of want y'all's focus to be what a word means and what part of speech it is. Yeah, like every different part of speech has its own thing going on. Like with nouns, you should also probably know the declension and the gender. With verbs, you should know the conjugation. But right now, maybe focus on what it means and the part of speech. What is this? What were you going to say? It is an adverb, yeah. Because it's simply usually, well, yeah, it's like always right next to a verb, and it's modifying a verb. Adverbs are the part of speech that like modify verbs usually. They can also modify other adverbs and adjectives, but usually they're modifying verbs. And so it'll be like right next to a verb, and that'll make up your predicate. That's a big word we use for like everything that's part of the verb. So it is non, but it's also often like do or does not. I'm sorry, not. Oh my gosh, not non. It would never mean non. Sorry.
I was about to question it, but then I'm like, you're Mr. Latin teacher, so you know everything.
No. Okay, yeah, not. So do or does not usually is like sometimes you need a do or does basically.
Okay.
It's an adverb. It usually hangs out with a verb. All right, Saipe. What is Saipe? So just to remind you guys, this is chapter 1. So we're just hanging out with chapter 1, making sure that we know as much of chapter 1 as possible. And then we'll do 2 tomorrow. Maddie, good? Good. What part of speech is this? Anyone? Now, it almost seems like a preposition. It's actually, Laura? No? What were you going to say? No, yeah, it kind of seems like a preposition. It is just another adverb. Because again, think about like what often is doing to other words. It's telling us like I am often teaching. It's modifying the verb teaching. So it's an adverb. If something is describing like the frequency of a verb or how a verb is done, then it's an adverb. I know that's not a great way of explaining it. It takes a while to get the hang of. All right, Saipe is often C, not the Spanish C, the Latin C. Ava? Yes. What part of speech is, can we have Maddie stop talking, please? Ava, what part of speech is C? Do you think is it? We only have 3 of these so far. This one doesn't seem like this in the way the other 2 do. The other 2 examples of this like definitely seem like this. Yeah. Say it again. Good guess. Good guess. No, not pronoun. We only have really 1 pronoun with me. It's actually a conjunction. So conjunctions are like these joining words. It literally means in Latin like to join with. It comes from this Latin verb like iungo, iungera, that we get junction from, like a joining. And then con is like a version of cum, the Latin cum, which means with. Macy?
So it would mean if?
Yep, it means if. Right, so yeah, please ask, if you get confused about the way I'm writing these dictionary entries, ask me. So it means if this is a part of speech. So we're not putting in parentheses part of speech.
Do we need to put the part?
Only if you want to, because that would be something that could go in the 3rd or 4th column. That's where you put like extra information. Like I said, I want that to be all second focus right now after learning what it means. But if you just want to prioritize what they mean, by all means, just focus on what they mean right now. All right, if. When a sentence starts with if, the subject will follow right after in your translation. So this is actually kind of important. I know it's hard to picture what he's talking about without an example. But like sometimes we'll start a sentence with if, and then you need to look at the verb at the end, and it's like if it's second person, then we need to say if you verb or whatever. So you always still want to find your verb, even if it's like a sentence starting with if. Okay, now we're getting into our verbs. Chapter 1 is mostly verbs. Most of the verbs we have in chapter 1. These will all have related English words, the thing you put in the 3rd column if you want, that usually help us remember what they mean. Some of them are like kind of hard words to remember. Okay. Yes, to love or like. Okay, there's Cupid there. So I'm putting related words down here pretty small. I should have made them a little bigger, I guess. But we get amorous from this. If somebody's like really lovey-dovey over something, they're amorous. Amatory is just like describing something as having to do with like, I guess like romantic things. Like an amatory poem would be like a love poem or a love song. And the name Amanda actually kind of translates roughly to like to be loved or like must be liked or something like that. And then amabote, I forgot to ask what that means, please. So that's kind of like a subcategory within this umbrella word. And I am putting all 4 principal parts. Do you need to write all 4 principal parts on your sheet? Not really. Probably just write the first 2. But like a year from now, the 3rd and 4th principal part will be important. And so I'm deciding I'm going to stop saying that kids don't need to look at the 3rd. Just like look at the 3rd and 4th, but don't worry about it. But amo, amari, amavi, amatum. To love or like. All right. Remember to slow me down if you're not done writing. Carson? To think. Why is this one still red? Yes, to think. Is it first or second conjugation, Carson?
First.
Yes, it is first. How did he know it's first? Guys, this is super easy. It's because the infinitive ends in A-R-E instead of E-R-E. That's all it is. In chapter 1, we get examples of the first 2 conjugations. Just like nouns belong to declensions in Latin, verbs belong to one of 4 conjugations. It's really not a huge deal. It's just something I kind of want to like mention here and there so that you are aware of this phenomenon that is the verb conjugation. All right, Maddie, you're about to get moved because you keep talking, and Richard wants to focus because he's trying to like catch back up with what's going on in Latin. This is often paired with day. Day is from or about. In this case, it'd be about, right? Somebody thinks about something. So we've already seen a couple examples of that. And we get words like cognition and cognitive. Again, if you wanted to, you could put those words in the 3rd column. Not a huge deal, though. What does cognition mean, anyone? It's a very, very fancy scientific word for what, Jake?
Wait, cognition or
Cognition.
cognition? Like thinking.
Yeah, it's a fancy word for thought, basically. It's like neurologists who study brains. Like that's like the technical term for when synapses are like firing in your cortex. And cognitive is like having to do with thought. Let's see how we're doing. So David only has run into 2 of these that he doesn't know. Carson has known all of these so far. That could have happened. Some people are like really used to chapter 1. Riley's only seen 2 she hasn't totally known. Again, we're just putting the ones that we don't totally know. If you totally know it, don't put it. But if you're even like a little unsure when we get to the first slide of the word, then write it down. What is debeo reading? I'm gonna erase that line. Oh, so a lot of people might write this down. Ava? Yeah, to owe, or she said ought, which ought is fine, or should. So to owe or should. If it's the only verb in the sentence, it needs to owe. If there is a friend verb, then it will be should plus the friend verb, which would be in its 2nd principal part infinitive form. So down here, a little small, I'm sorry. Debeo is just I owe. Whereas debeo amare Latinum would be I ought or should, I should love Latin, right? We've seen a couple examples of that. It's really not that bad, but it is like a unique feature of this verb that's different. If you think about it, like owing something, it makes sense that could like also be like the word for owe in Latin could also be translated as should. It's like an obligation type thing, right? Something like you're supposed to do, whether you like it or not. Like this guy apparently owes that guy money. He doesn't like that he does, but it's like it's what he should do is pay him back. It's what he owes him. All right, and we get words like debt. Like if you take on debt, you owe a bank or something money. Debit is like a card. Why is debit card called debit? Because like debit card, that's not a credit card. You actually don't owe what you use a debit card for. Like that money is like actually like.
So credit card should be called debit.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. Kylie. That's a good question. It must have been something from the English, like the British, I assume. But I'm not sure, because like other countries have their own weird like sign for money. That's a good question. I like that. Should look that up. I've never stopped to think about it. And why would it be S? Like why would the letter S be?
Money should be an M.
Huh? Yeah, right. Money starts with an M or like S. Like what could S stand for? Like silver or something? Like if it used to be like some like there was never a silver standard. I don't know.
It could. Well, I understand the cent sign. But dollars,
Cents.
no.
Yeah, cents, right. Cent does kind of make sense. I might look it up if I remember. I wrote it down. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that
Maddie, last warning. Uh-huh.
during the Bible times, those were ones usually the
Okay.
money. Like these little bars.
Huh. Right. Yeah, like we even had the gold standard in America for a little while, but it was gold, not silver. So yeah, maybe it is going back to like a biblical kind of thing. We also get due and duty from this apparently. So those can go in your 3rd column if you want. Oh, and what conjugation is this new one? Does anyone see where I'm writing what the conjugation, Caden? It is second because it's debary. This E right here is long, so it's A sound. It's not ARE like co-guitar and the other ones we've seen so far. It's not first conjugation. It's second. How do we know it's second? You look at the second to last vowel in the infinitive. That's all it is. Like, I know that probably means nothing to you, and you're like, why do I even care what conjugation it is? It's kind of important because, look, in second conjugation, the E sticks around in the first singular form. That's kind of worth knowing. It's not super important, but. All right, do, dare, our other D1. I think a lot of people are mixing up these two D1s. Carson? To give, yeah, exactly. Nelius has known all these words, guys. That's awesome. Good job, Nelius. Yeah, this means to give, okay? What conjugation is this, Devin? First or second conjugation?
Second.
It actually, well, let's look at the infinitive, do, and then dare. Dare is the infinitive, right? The second mental part is the infinitive, the unconjugated version. And it's an ARE. It's really like most of the entire word is the ending. It's like the stem of it is just the letter D. So it is first, and I am writing first conjugation in the lower right corner. So that's a picture of Saturnalia, apparently, which is the early version of Christmas, the pre-Christian version of Christmas, where people did exchange gifts around the winter solstice. Hundreds of years before Jesus was even born, or like Christianity was even really a thing. And we get words like data and dative. I guess data is something that's like information that's given from like a set of like research or something.
Yeah, it is because you can get mobile data that's like Wi-Fi can't, like, you don't have like Wi-Fi nearby.
Yeah. I think it's weird when people the way we use data to talk about phone internet. That's weird. That's like that's a new way of using the word data. It usually just means like information. Yeah. And then dative. So the dative cases show up a lot of the times in sentences that have dodare. Because if the dodares are in a sentence, it probably means a subject is giving a direct object to an indirect object dative. I might have lost you there, but all I'm saying is indirect objects in Latin are in the dative case. And so that's like why the word dative is actually coming from dodare, right? It's coming from this fourth principal part right here. And we even have the word donum, like gift, and that's related to this word too. So we already have like 2 or 3 words that are related to dodare. All right, arrow, errare. You remember? Oh, arrow, errare. No, down? To wander, yeah, and there's actually a few things for this. Wander, go astray, make a mistake. All of those things are like a little different from one another. How are y'all doing with the whole thing where like some words have like 3, 4, 5 different ways you can translate them? Y'all feel like y'all kind of
I
understand
only
that?
got 5 words down.
Oh, okay, you only got 5. We've like what? Looked at 10? More than 10?
Ooh.
No, that's not a bad percentage.
Yeah,
That means
it is,
you're
but,
like 50% of the words. So, yeah, don't be thrown off when words have like 3 or 4 different ways you could translate them. I mean, that's like, if anything, that's kind of the fun part of Latin. Like, Latin is like a little bit of math, and where it's like very kind of clear-cut, black and white, objective. But then it's like a little bit of creative writing. You get to choose, like, oh, I'm going to translate, like, I looked at the rest, all of the sentence, and I think I'm going to go with make a mistake here. I think make a mistake is the best way to translate it. You're not wrong. Okay, you can use any of these, and you're not going to be wrong. But, like, you kind of use the context of a sentence to figure out what they probably intended for you in terms of how you're going to translate a word. So, anyway, you get to pick. It's fun, right? It's not like black and white all the time, Maddie.
But think about it. At least I'm paying attention.
I guess that's true.
Because I have words down.
So we get words like
Oh,
errant.
but then I'm not. Because then I don't know the words. Think about it.
Just stay focused. Errant, you got this, Maddie. Errant is an adjective version of errand. I usually see in the context of like when we're talking about like medieval knights, like wandering the countryside, being chivalric, an errant knight. This is Don Quixote. I don't know why he looks so sad there. He's fine, but he's like wandering around on his horse. He's an errant knight. Errand, something where you go wander around and get stuff done. Error is like a mistake, and to err is to make a mistake. Oh, no one uses that word anymore. All right, and this is first or second conjugation. Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the infinitive ends in ere. Good. Y'all got that. Laudo, laudare. We've seen this a good bit. Y'all should definitely know this. Caden?
Right?
Good. To praise. Is it first or second conjugation? No. So remember, very simple. We look at the last three words of the infinitive, and it's really just the second to last vowel, the thing before the RE, that tells us. So if it's A, just like A is the first letter in our alphabet, verbs that have that A in that spot are first conjugation, whereas if it's E, it's second. You can even think of the way we list our vowels. We were like, what are all the vowels in English? A, E, I, O, U. E is the second one, A is the first one. That's weird. Is that like why it's numbered that way? I don't know. But it works out, right? We get words like applaud. Just to show you, it's because of this sequence of letters right here, L-A-U-D. We get laudatory, which means like applaudable, basically, something worthy of applause. And then we get summa cum laude, which is if you graduate high school, summa cum laude, that means you like probably had like straight A's. It means with highest honor. So it's like the top honor you could get. What's the other one? Magna cum laude, with great honor, with great distinction. Yeah. And there are some Gladiator fans. That might be from the movie Gladiator. I'm not totally sure. I mean, that's like real, right? Oh, no, it's not. It's a painting. Well, I don't know.
CG.
It's either like a really well done painting or just a photograph, and my eyeballs. Yeah, maybe CG.
You know
What's
what's real?
real? This is real?
I don't know.
Anyone? Okay. Good. We're almost through all of them, and then we'll look at a little bit of translation examples. Riley, what is moneo? So I hope you know this word. Carson?
To remind, warn, or advise.
Yeah, to remind, warn, or advise. Again, we have one that kind of has like a few different, like kind of distinct, like interpretations. Reminding, warning, and advising, those are all like slightly different things. But hopefully y'all can see why they all belong under the same umbrella of this word. So we get words like admonish, which is a fancy word for like warning someone or like kind of correcting someone. Monitor, which is kind of cool. That means like you're watching something so that if you need to like advise it or warn it, you can because you're watching it. Monument, I was kind of surprised by this, but it makes sense. Like, what does a monument do? It blanks us about the past, right? It reminds us. It's kind of like a reminder to something that happened a long time ago. And then premonition. Do you even know what that means? What's premonition? So Devin has only not known like 6 of these. Antonio, since he's still catching up, this is like very much geared towards someone like Antonio. We have a lot of late joiners this year. It's not just Antonio. It's like every class I have people who just join. So that's why this week is going to be great for all of us who don't think great. Riley has like 5. Most people are averaging between 3 and 6. Anyway, okay. This is another. You have 8? That's fine.
Wait.
That's
1,
good.
2,
More the
3,
better.
4, 5, 6, 7. Actually.
7. Great.
That means I'm a failure.
How many do you have, Laura?
8.
8's great. Okay. Guys, this is second conjugation. Most of our verbs are still first conjugation. We only have a few second conjugations. So do you see that, Caden? You see why this one's second and not first? Yeah. It's moneri.
Well,
What?
if I'm like 8 down, doesn't that mean I'm dumb?
No. It really doesn't. None of y'all are dumb. Like, I'm not just saying
But I've been
that.
here for 2 years. Like, I've been doing Latin for years.
Latin's
So technically
hard.
I'm dumb. Necessarily, this is my 4th year if you really want to count it. But, you know, still stupid.
No. 'Cause what it is that 6th grade is just, or any time before 6th grade is a very early time to start learning Latin. So those of you in your first year, you're fine. Those of you in your second year, you're also fine. Your first year, it's like y'all get like a taste of it, and then now we're actually able to like refine your understanding. You're able to like glimpse mastery. So that by the time you get to 9th grade, you guys will straight up be like fluent in this language. No joke. Like you'll kind of just be like, and like you'll be like one of like 100 kids in the entire country who are like at that level as young as y'all are. It's like kind of incredible. Yes.
Keaton did Latin the same as me, and he's 10 times smarter than me, and knows like all these words.
Well, yeah.
Except he's done 1 more year than me.
Right. He's a year ahead of you. So yeah.
In my old school, that was my favorite school.
Oh, really? All you guys are going to end up in, like, you might be kind of sick of Latin by 9th grade, but you'll know a lot. And then when you go to Spanish, Spanish is just going to flow into your mind.
My
Like,
brother hates Spanish.
I like Spanish because, well, you know, I love Latin, but with Latin, you're mostly just translating old written down stuff. With Spanish, you can go to South America or Spain or, not Portugal, and you can speak it to people. What is salveo, salveri, Maddie?
I knew it for a
Anyone?
second.
Anyone? Yeah, it means to be well. So, guys, we mostly see this in its imperative form. So you see down here, solue, soluete, solueta, rather. Solueta is formed, we take the infinitive, we drop off the re. That's if we're telling one person to be well. And if we're telling a bunch of people to be well, or technically kind of just hello, it's solueta. Okay, so you drop the re, you add a te. Those are imperatives. It makes sense for them to give us salve and wale right off the bat, so that A, we know how to say hello and goodbye in Latin, B, so that we understand kind of how imperatives work, commands. Now, if someone tells you to have a good day, you don't think of it as a command, but it technically is. If someone's like, have a good day, you should be like, whoa, like, you need to back off and not tell me what to do, man. But no, that's not how we think about it, but it technically is an imperative. All right, and this is second conjugations because it's salve, to be well in good health. Any questions? I'm putting both conservo and servo together because conservo is just the digital form of servo. It's just the grown-up big boy version of it. What is conservo, conservare? Anyone? Pretty easy one. Ava? Hey, what were your other ones? Right, so Alora, she knows this one's conserve. That's the easiest way for us to remember this word. That's fine. But she also knows it can be save or keep or preserve. So those are all important. Is it first or second conjugation you want to allow? Devin?
Second.
No, so let's look at this. Ava, what do you think?
I looked at the wrong word.
What were you looking at? So yeah, look at this letter. Whatever the letter is, because I don't know if y'all noticed, but the infinitives are always ending in something re. So you look at the thing before the re, and that tells you if it's first or second. A for first, E for second, servare. Okay, good. So this means to conserve. We have different Roman miles here, soldiers. We have centurions. We have a, what's this guy called? I can't read that. Oh, a magnifer. This guy came about around the time of the first emperors, and he would just run around the battlefield with the sign of the emperor on a stick, basically. He was kind of like a mascot almost. And we have triarii, who were like older or injured soldiers who were like basically third string. They weren't first or second string. They were like the reserves. If they had to go to the front line, they would, but they were like in the back of the army. All right. So yeah, do know it's all these things. It is not serve. Servo is not serve. It's got to be save, preserve, conserve, keep, guard, stuff like that. Terreo, terreu. And we got a few more for chapter 1. Chapter more, okay? Yeah, this is pretty easy, right? Terrify. Is it first or second, Caden? Good. Caden saw this long E. He knew it was second. Got to be second. Okay, this is Athenodorus. This was a ghost. No, I'm sorry. Who's Athenodorus? I think. No, it is the ghost. Yeah, and he's scaring this guy. This was I forget this guy's name, but this is Athenodorus. This is the tutor of Augustus. And apparently he moved into a house in Rome and he saw this horrible ghost who led him out into the courtyard of where he was living and pointed at a spot in the ground. And the next day, this guy, I think his name was Varro, had it dug up, and they found a skeleton wrapped in chains. And so they buried it properly, and this ghost never bothered him again. Is it a real story? Who knows? But it's a cool idea. Second conjugation. Halloween's coming up. This word's for that terror, terrible, terrify, right? That's like, we use these words to remember what it means, but again, it doesn't mean terror or terrible. It means to terrify. So don't get your related English words or your cognate, it's a fancy word for that, up with what it actually means. And then we get terrific from it too. Terrific used to not be such a good thing. Nowadays, it's like a good thing. Maddie?
I know this is a little off topic, but I think ghosts are real for so many different reasons.
Okay.
Because if you go to Sam and Colby's channel, like just search up Sam and Colby, you think I'm crazy. And then go to the Stanley Hotel, full series, like full movie. No, it is scary as crap.
Wait.
I was gonna go there yesterday, the Stanley Hotel. Just
Really?
To see. Like I love haunted stuff like that.
Yeah, me
And
too.
like I want to stay the night there, but my mom's too scared.
I would definitely stay there if I
Also,
could.
look at the Biltmore Hotel one.
Bro,
Wait, are you saying there's a movie? Wait,
Like,
are you saying there's a movie about the Stanley Hotel? Not Shining.
no.
Okay. Yeah.
There's YouTubers that they explore.
Right. Oh yeah. It's not really my place to say as a teacher, but I love paranormal stuff too. It's a blast. Who knows if it's real, but it's kind of fun. Riley?
yeah, my grandparents,
Yeah.
and they're the owners there, so
And do they like
217
do they
is
see
scary
stuff?
room.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's crazy. That's kind of cool.
Wait, I have another thing to say.
What? Real quick.
Okay, in the Biltmore Hotel, usually there's no 13th floor in any hotel.
Yeah.
And there's a 13th floor, and it attaches to the 14th floor, and there's an attic in there, and they found teeth in there.
No, isn't that a weird thing about 13 floors? They just like don't build 13 floors. Like that's how superstitious people are. And what else? Whatever the room from The Shining is, they don't.
217.
Yeah, they don't do that room.
I'm
Anyway, Latin, right? This is Latin class. What is Walea Waleri, Jake? I guess.
They only filmed a little bit of that in Colorado. The actual set was made in Boston.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, Kubrick, he's British, right? Or he like did all the stuff in England. Walea Waleri. What is Walea? Is this basically also the same as Salveo? Right? It means to be well. It's a little more like to be strong or to be like power, have power. But it is basically synonymous with Salveo. But we use this word in the imperative for farewell, whereas the imperative of salve or salveo is hello. So this is goodbye, right? The imperative is down here. I know it's kind of small, but you need to know this just as much as you know this, right? So this is what the verb literally means, but in the imperative form, it means a very specific thing. We call that idiomatic, meaning it's something that like people from a certain part of the world would know that other people wouldn't. Any questions? What are you gonna say, Chris?
No, I was just in the sign.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Like this is a Roman salute.
No, this.
What is that?
You don't watch Star Trek.
Oh, I thought it was. They do this.
I do
Though.
not
I thought you were
watch
like.
it. Okay.
No, I would love to watch Star Trek. Valedictorian is if you are a straight A student in college, you get valedictorian. That means like it has been said that you are very strong as a student. Valid, if something is strong, like that's a valid complaint. It's a strong, healthy complaint. Invalidate is to say, oh, that's not a strong comment. And prevail, if you stay strong through some kind of trial, you have prevailed.
I can't believe.
Wideo, anyone? To see, yep, these are the last two we have today. To see, okay? We get words like video, we get visual, we get visualize. Has anyone ever seen a TV like that before? That's old even for me, honestly. Like that weird knob thing, that's weird.
Yeah, me too.
It looks like a toaster.
I know. This is second conjugation. It has a long E here. I really need y'all to chill out for the last 7 minutes. And then voco vocare. So this is second. This is first. What is voco vocare, Natalie? To call or summon. Good. So this is what we think of this now, to call someone with a telephone. But back in the day, if you wanted to tell someone to like meet you somewhere in Rome, and you had a day's notice with which to do that, you would probably use this tabellum, this tablet here, with an actual stylus, which is literally just a stylus. It doesn't have lead or anything. And you would like write into the wax part. This red stuff is like a layer of wax. And so you'd write your Latin character, like salve amica, vene me casum, come to my house tomorrow. And you would scratch that into it, and then you could like leave it on their front doorstep or something. Or give it to their ionitor, the janitor, the watchman who's outside of the person's house. And they would pass it off to the person you're trying to talk to, and they would see that. And then you could use the other side of the stylus to smooth back over the part you had written on, so you could keep using it for a long period of time, and you kind of exchange some stuff. We get vocation. What's a vocation, anyone? It's another word for your job, basically. So it's like your calling, whatever you're called to do in your life. Advocate. That's like if someone, it's got another word for lawyers. Oh, you're gonna say that. So it's somebody who stands up for somebody else. I don't know how that's related, really. I guess they're summoned. They're summoned to your defense, your legal defense. Evoke. What does evoke mean? That's like if you're evoking. Huh? Oh no. I can't describe the word evoke. Evoke. He's evoking something that reminds us of Homer. He's like reminding us. He's calling us to think of something else. Invoke, same thing. Provoke is when you're saying like you're shouting at something. It's like, hey, come attack me. I'm the tank in this RPG party. And then revoke is if you take something back. If you like something you've said. These words are not technically vocab words. Well, y'all should know discipulus and y'all should know magister. So this can be second declension masculine or first declension. So the ending will tell you the gender of the person, but you're still going to translate it the same way. you don't need to write like the student who was a girl. You would just write student still. But it's important to know it can belong to either declension. And the last but not least for today is Magister, and for some reason it's way up there. And this obviously means teacher or master. Okay. That's me, right? That's y'all with your stylus and your tabellum. And then so male teachers are second declension. Women are first declension. Okay. Vocamus. Let's just translate some single verbs. So, no. Yeah, you're done now. So that's chapter 1. So however many you wrote down, that's how much of chapter 1 you still don't totally know. Every day we're going to add to this. This is double-sided. So it's fine if by tomorrow or Thursday you're on the second side of it. By the way, online kids, y'all can just do that in your notebook. I gave them a little template to write down the vocab words they need. I will add it to the Microsoft Teams if I haven't already. But like that's something hopefully y'all were doing too. I meant to say that. But you can do that in your like any notebook. You don't need a template. The template just like kind of makes you really extra aware of it. Okay, so don't write these down. These are just forms of the words we already saw. Vocamus. Who can translate just vocamus alone? Carson? Now we see that'd be videamos. This is we call. Yes, we call. Okay, so do y'all see that? It's first person plural. I look at that ending. I'm getting used to my verb endings. I know it's vocamus. So it's we call. What is going to be discipulum vocamus? Anyone? What if I add one word to that? Discipulum vocamus. Anyone? Discipulum vocamus. Now? Yeah. So y'all hear that? It's just we call the student. So vocamus can be a sentence all by itself. It just means we call. But if we add a direct object to Laura, then now we're calling a direct object. We call the direct object student. Discipulum has an accusative ending there, so this could totally be our direct object. This is our subject is we. Any questions about discipulum vocamus? Right, just little bite-sized translations that kind of like help us see if we actually are keeping up with our grammar. Because we're focusing on vocab a lot this week, but we still want to be looking at grammar as well. Maddie Dugan, do you understand this? Kind of. I wonder why kind of. Maybe because you were talking to a Laura through the entire slide. Good job. Very good job. Video. What is video all by itself? Okay. And who sees that? So I pretend this is a sentence. Yeah, I'm saying like the verb video, videor means to see. But if this is a sentence, video, who sees? I-U. Yeah, exactly. That's I see. Now what is now Tom video? Same thing. I'm just adding a direct object. That's it, Ava. Not the same receipt. It's still going to be IC. Because now. Yes, exactly. So see, I'm glad Ava did that.